Good morning, students. Today we are going to start a new lesson, pollination and fertilization. Last class we have seen the structure of the flower, and in sexual reproduction we will start the structure of the flower, then pollination and fertilization. Sexual reproduction takes place in two stages: pollination, fertilization. What is pollination? Pollination is the process of transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma. From the anther, last class in structure of the flower, we have seen male reproductive part, androecium, female reproductive part, gynoecium. So anther and filament together for stamen. Okay, and this anther produce pollen grains. The pollen grains are male gametophyte. They produce a sperm. Okay. Then, if you take the gynoecium, stigma, style, ovary, and ovule. So this ovule produce ovum, egg nucleus. Okay. So this pollen grain, the sperm should fuse with the egg. That is called fusion of male and female gamete is called fertilization. So this fertilization, if this fertilization should take place, we need this pollen grain should reach the stigma. How this male gamete will reach this female gamete? Female gamete is there in the ovary. So through the stigma and style it reaches the sperm. So first step is transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma. That is called pollination. So definition for pollination. And these types of pollination: autogamy, heterogamy, allogamy. Autogamy, heterogamy, allogamy. Autogamy, if the pollen grains of this flower, if the pollen grain of this flower reaches the stigma of the same flower, this is called autogamy. It is a type of self-pollination. And heterogamy, if the pollen grain of this flower reaches the stigma of this flower, that is another flower of the same plant, it is called geitonogamy. Okay. Then allogamy, the pollen grain from this flower, from this plant, reaches the stigma of the another plant of the same species. The stigma of the flower in another plant of the same species. Okay. So two different plants. So that is called allogamy. Pollen grain from this flower reaches the stigma of the same flower. It is autogamy. Pollen grain from this flower reaches the stigma of the another flower of the same plant. It is geitonogamy. The pollen grain of this flower from this plant reaches the stigma of the same another flower of the another plant of the same species. That is very, very important. Okay, same species. That is called allogamy. Okay. So we have seen the types of pollination. What is pollination? We have seen types of pollination. We have seen. Now we are going to see self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination is nothing but autogamy and geitonogamy come under self-pollination. That is, the pollen grain from this flower reaches the stigma of the same plant. Okay, or pollen grain from this flower reaches the stigma of the another flower of the same plant. So this is called self-pollination. Okay, so what is self-pollination? When the self-pollination will take place? Only when both the cells are bisexual. Both androecium and gynoecium are present. That time only this self-pollination takes place. So only then the bisexual flowers it takes place. Unisexual flowers also. If you take papaya, unisexual flower, different plants. The male plant and female plant we have in papaya. So some plants are, if you take cucumber and all, male flower and female flower. Male flower will have only androecium, female flower will have only gynoecium. Both will be produced. If they both are produced at the same time, chances are there for the self-pollination. Okay. Advantage and disadvantage of self-pollination. Advantages: there is no need for the flower to have any external attractions or nectar, production of nectar, there is no need, and automatically from the flower and it will reach the same flower. Okay. Then the character of the plant, mother plant, is maintained. Okay. All these are, it will not lose its character, original character. The originality will be maintained. So all these are the advantages. If you take the disadvantage, same characters repeatedly, generation after generation, generation after generation, the same characters repeated, they will become, the characters become weak and they disappear. Okay, that is one disadvantage. Okay, so this and no chance of production of the new varieties in self-pollination, no chance of production of new varieties, and where any unnecessary characters are present, it cannot be removed in self-pollination. So all these are the disadvantages of self-pollination. Next comes the cross-pollination. Cross-pollination, already we have seen, two plants, the same species, pollen grain of this flower reaches the stigma of the another flower of the next another plant of the same species. That is called cross-pollination. Cross-pollination, when it will take place? If the cross-pollination, the plants are, suppose if the anthers are produced in some one period and the stigma is matured in, the gynoecium is matured in another period. If it comes like that, each plant is having its own time period for the development. Suppose if this one only androecium is developed and gynoecium is developing now only, but this flower, the gynoecium also got developed, fully developed. Okay, so chances are there for this pollen grain to reach this. Okay. So that time only this cross pollination takes place. The next comes advantages, new varieties. In cross pollination we can get new varieties, and the pollen grains, wastage of pollen grains is disadvantage in cross pollination, whereas in self pollination wastage of pollen grain need not be there, it will not be there. So all these are the advantage and disadvantages of cross pollination. Now, conditions for the cross-pollination. Unisexuality. If the flowers are having separately male flower and female flower, only through cross-pollination only it can do fertilization, it can undergo sexual reproduction. So, unisexuality. Then, dichogamy. Dichogamy is the pollen grain, the anther is developed, matured in one stage, and the gynoecium later, development of the gynoecium is later. So with that, dichogamy. Then self-sterility. Suppose if this flower is it is not having a proper development of androecium, only gynoecium is developed, and this flower both androecium and gynoecium are developed. So if this one is sterile, so one part, male part is not present, it is not developed fully, it is sterile. So this female part can be utilized by this cross pollination. Then heterogamy. Heterogamy is hypogamy. See, hypogamy, what happens is if the stigma is covered by the dune shaped structure, then the stigma is covered, how the pollen grain will reach there? Okay, so only when the pollen grain from other flower only can reach here, penetrate through this dune. Okay, so that helps in cross pollination. Then heterostyly. Heterostyly is the style is longer and the stamens, the filaments are shorter, so it cannot reach from here to here. Okay, so this is one of the necessary condition which leads to cross pollination. So all these are the conditions which leads cross pollination. Next comes the agents. Okay, cross pollination requires some agents: insects, wind, water. Insects. The insects will sit on the flower. They will visit the flower for nectar, sucking the nectar. If you take the insect, this is the proboscis of the butterfly. The mouth of the insect is a long tube, coiled tube, it is kept coiled. So it will sit on the flower and it is, while sitting on the flower, it stretch this, send this proboscis to the deep bottom of the flower where the sweet nectar is secreted, and they will sit to suck the nectar. They will sit on the petals. The insects will sit on the petals. And like you know, you people will be eating your breakfast in one place, dining table, and after some time you will sit in the sofa, you will sit on the bed, sometimes you will go to the kitchen, you won't sit in one place and eat, correct? Okay, most of you. Same like that, the insects also, it will sit here and suck the nectar, it will sit here, it will suck the nectar, and it will reach go to the next flower. Okay, so it will visit flower to flower. So that time, when it sits on the petals, the pollen grains will be there on the petals. Sometimes we can see the petals and all will be covered with, the petals will have yellow colored dust. They are nothing but pollen grain. Okay. So if you observe the leg of the insect will be having hairy structure. Okay. So when the insect sits on the flower, the petals, here and there, the pollen grain will stick to this. If the insect visits to the next flower, the pollen grain fall on the stigma of that flower. Okay, so this is how the insects are used as an agent for pollination. That is called entomophilous flower. The flowers which are pollinated by the insects are called entomophilous flower. Learn all the technical terms. Okay, then you may ask, the insects will be visiting many flowers. Not only this jasmine, and so many different types of plants will be having different types of flowers they will be visiting. So what happens is, suppose if this flower, the insects which one is visiting this flower is taking the pollen grain and visiting the next plant, which is a cucumber plant. Okay, so what happens? It will get pollen grain will get germinate or not. The pollination takes place or not, it will not. Because this plant, the pollen grain from this plant will, if we reach the same species only, it will germinate. Different species, it will not germinate. Okay. So the next comes wind pollination. The pollination taken by the wind is called anemophilous. The flowers which are getting pollinated with the help of the wind are anemophilous. If you see, if you visit the hill station, and during summer season you used to visit the hill station, no? Where all these trees, pine trees and all will be covered with yellowish it will be. The leaves will not turn yellow, it is yellowish. They are nothing but pollen grains. A large number of pollen grains are being produced. Okay, and they are taken by the wind. So, when they reach the stigma of the flowers, pollination takes place. So, wind pollination, anemophilous. Next comes the water. Water is another agent which induces this pollination. The flowers which are getting pollinated with the help of the water are hydrophilous. Okay, and if you take this Vallisneria plant, we can see male plant and female plant. This is male plant and this one is the female plant. What happens is, male plant inflorescence is there under the water. Okay, so this inflorescence, you know what is inflorescence? A bunch of flowers are arranged on the same stalk. And these flowers, once they are developed, they are detached and they will float on the surface of the water. So this female flower, the female plant will produce a female flower, single flower, and it will be attached to the plant. It will not get detached. It will reach the surface of the water. Okay. So on the surface of the water, pollination takes place. Once the female flower gets pollinated, after fertilization, it will recoil and reach the bottom and development takes place. Okay. So here this is an example for water hydrophilous flower, pollination by water. Now all these we have seen naturally. Artificial pollination. The next comes artificial pollination. Artificial pollination in tissue culture, biotechnology, they are using to produce a hybrid varieties. They are using Mendel, Gregor John Mendel in the genetics. You will be seeing father of genetics, and he did the hybridization experiment. So what they do, collect the pollen grain from one flower and then dust the stigma with the pollen grain. Okay, artificially. Okay, so that is called artificial pollination. One variety to another variety of the same species. Suppose one variety brinjal, purple color, the another brinjal, white or stripes with stripes. So they collect pollen grain from this purple color brinjal plant and dust it on the stigma of the striped brinjal plant. You will get a new variety. Okay, so that is called artificial pollination. So in this we have seen what is pollination, what are the different types of pollination, what is self-pollination, when it will take place, what are the advantages of pollination, self-pollination, what are the disadvantages of self-pollination, and what is cross-pollination, then when it will take place, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, what are the conditions, under which condition cross-pollination is possible, and what are the agents helping in cross-pollination, then artificial pollination. With this, we are finished pollination. The next unit, that is next part of the lesson, fertilization, we will see in the next session. Okay, bye.